have a library card with us, get a library card. The resources that we're showing you today, we've built a portfolio for the library where you can access these at your convenience, at any internet, PC, or computer. So with a library card, you may get onto these resources and get to them and kind of play with them in whatever way that they serve you. And also, the materials that we gave you today has our contact information. Contact either one of us if you have any questions whatsoever. We definitely want you to follow up with us. Thirdly, I made a mistake today, but we're going to see if we can't put this mistake and kind of use it to our advantage. I forgot to print out the little evaluations that we've all been doing, but the website that we have, springintosuccessgso.com, is actually a blog. And we haven't announced this since the first time, but after each of the little bios that we have about our presenters, so there's a speakers tab, and there's also a tab for comments when you click over to the photo page as well. Do us a favor, and instead of doing the paper evaluation, add some comments on there. When you go to the speakers page, there'll be a little link at the bottom of VALS or at the bottom of any of our presenters, and kind of let them know your feelings and that kind of thing. I think that would be a great way to start to get discussions around the sessions that we've had.
What did you say the website was again?
springintosuccessgso.com. Okay? And so, go ahead.
I'm sorry, can you get there from the library page, or do we?
That's a separate site.
It's a separate site.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's a site that Angel was very kind enough to start for us with this in purpose, with that purpose.
Martha,
Yes,
you said it's .com,
.com. Mhm. Okay, so Kim's going to get started, and then, like I said, if you have any questions, just let us know. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Martha. I am trying to pull up our Spring Into Success website so that everyone can at least know what it looks like if you haven't already been there. So let's see how fast our internet is today. And at 10:59, it's not going that fast, is it? But it's still a good for us to show you exactly what we're looking for. Here we are. So this is the Spring Into Success website that Angel put together. Each session has a listing of what each week is and what to expect. So that's there. You can write comments here, entries here. On the side, speakers, biographies of all our speakers are on this website here. And as well, just about the Spring Into Success program. So again, it's springintosuccessgso.com. All right. The Greensboro Public Library has a wealth of online databases that they pay for. In fact, pretty much every public library, every academic library in the world has online databases. That's very expensive. So it would be kind of nice if our customers use these resources, because they're here for you to use. So what I'm going to quickly do is to go through what we have. I created a handout that has really all the nuts and bolts of the information about the databases I'm going to go through. But I just remembered as well, I'm using NC Live, and anyone who does any research for papers, etc., would use NC Live for research papers, for academic papers. But as well, Val talked about researching the business people that you're going to meet or that you want to meet. And the best way to do that, other than Google, is to go to our NC Live and go to the business section, business and management, as well as current events. And so you have Academic Search Premier, Business Center, Business Source Premier, Company Profiles, CQ Research Online, Morningstar Investment Research Center, My Library. Well, that's it. You can pick them all. You can choose them all. You can run one search and use all these databases and type in, you know, the name or whatever information you're looking at to help you research. And that's what you can do. And it's accessible on the home page of the Greensboro Public Library, which has all the databases here. But NC Live is the one that has the research, different journals and websites for you. All right. Now, the Job Career Center that I'm going to talk about specifically is here. Just hit Job and Career Center. We have Resume Maker and Career Building Center, which is a wonderful source for not only creating a resume, updating your resume, but getting ideas from the resume. When I'm helping people with their resumes and cover letters, I go here to get ideas, and I'll show you how to do that. We also have Ferguson's Career Guidance Center, a detailed profiles of more than 2,000 jobs, has articles on resume building and job seeking skills, plus information about colleges and scholarships. Learning Express Library. This is such a great tool because what it allows you to do, it will give you, does anyone remember, know, or purchase a Video Professor? Okay. This is essentially, has Video Professor and every other computer-assisted learning tool on different types of, let me log in here. Yeah, you can
Create your own password?
you create your own username and your and password. I use, you know, mine. Username is easy to remember, my first and last name.
What is this spot again? Could you go back up on the
Sure,
page?
sure.
What it looks like?
It looks like this.
It's
It's called the Learning Express Library. And it's in the Job and Career section of the Greensboro Public Library database page, the main page. What I find so very interesting in this is that everyone needs to improve their skills, I find, as a career counselor, talking to everyone, especially when you're in transition. Computer skills, you know, not everyone has the same computer skills. So here's Microsoft Access courses, Microsoft Excel courses, PowerPoint Project, Visio, Word, Windows and Mac operating systems. I mean, this is just a phenomenal resource that would normally cost, you know, hundreds of dollars, and it's free here. Just the computer courses alone. Let's go, you know, Windows 7, Vista XP. Let's see, Word. You always have to scroll down. Word 2003, which is kind of obsolete, becoming, because 2007 has been out for a couple of years, and 2010 has just come out. Word 2010, Microsoft Office 2010. Yes, ma'am.
Want to make an observation?
Yes.
I really put my foot in my mouth at a potential job last year
Mhm.
when I asked them what they were working with
Mm-hmm.
on their computer system, and they were doing 97.
Oh my goodness, there we
Now,
go.
let me go back. I did
Sure.
it in this spring. I didn't put my foot in my mouth.
Mhm.
big company, big company.
Mhm.
And their on-site locations all are still also using a 97, 98 based operating system. They're not even at XP. So, and for those of us that might have slid in under the radar, so to speak, present lady right here, who was not up to computers for a while, she kind of chose to stay out of it, and then she kind of re-entered in '07. I'm real comfortable at '07, but I can go back and I'm uncomfortable because I wasn't actively going through that system.
Yes.
And I'm finding there's a lot of employers that have not chosen because of the costs to upgrade. So it's not a bad thing to be able to go back
Exactly.
and have some educational resources. It's a blessing actually what you're showing us right now.
That is great. And as she just mentioned, a lot of companies, or a company that she has worked with, interviewed with, is still using Microsoft Office, 97. Well,
Or
that's,
98, whatever it is.
yeah.
I'm really
Yeah.
old stuff. Not even 2002. I went on a girlfriend's computer when I was having some computer problems, and she was on something before '03, something that was 202 or 2001 or something. And she got really offended when I said to her, I said, why don't you just upgrade to at least 2003? Or, and she said, why did I think it was? Okay, I won't say anything.
But, so there's, all of these computer courses that what you do is add to My Center. And whenever you add it to My Center, you can start this course now. And it will bring up a video course, interactive video course that you can take at, at your leisure, the privacy of your home, at the library here, anywhere. So this is a wonderful resource. Let's see. So here we go.
I just spent $150
Oh my goodness.
to learn 2007.
Oh gosh. Yeah, so,
People don't know about it. I took the women's center course last year, and I did not know about it. So it's something we need to be doing.
yeah.
People just are not educated at how our taxes are really doing beneficial things in our whole life.
Exactly. I'm the same way. Before I started here, I did not know about this myself, but it was here, it was for me to use.
And we can do it at home, just log on.
Exactly, you have to use
Library log on.
your library. Each library has this, but it requires that you use your library, card so that they can record demographics of who's using these, things of that nature. So it's not just for computer skills, there's workplace skills improvement, business writing, job search resumes, interviewing again, occupational practice tests. This is what kind of blew me away. Air traffic controller, civil service, cosmetology, culinary arts, electrician, firefighter, EMT, green careers, law enforcement, military, ASVAB, nursing, allied health training courses, plumbing, real estate. Let's see, you can, real estate appraisal exam preparation, real estate broker exam preparation. Let's go to nursing, allied health. Yes, ma'am.
These tests, specifically in nursing and allied health,
Mhm.
these tests don't take the place of requirements.
No.
These are practice
No,
tests, right?
no, these tests do not take the place of requirements in order to qualify for certifications or licensure, but they help prepare for them, which, is just gold. Yeah. As well, there's college preparation tests for your children, for your family members, PSAT, SAT, test-taking skills, ACT. They're yeah. It's extremely expensive stuff, yeah. Graduate school entrance exam, this, helped me tremendously when I was going through, had to take the GRE and the GMAT for my master's and for my PhD. LSAT practice exams, GMAT, GRE, MCAT, medical. You know, this is tremendous. All right. And at, you know, your leisure, just go and see what all the information that this has. Even GED tests, there are tons of GED tests, including in Spanish. Yeah. A lot of great information here. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, goodness, we should. We should. All right. Yeah, under jobs and careers, the main, this is again, the main website for the library, under job and career.
Hi, Charlie. Good morning. Okay.
And then here is Living Express Library. All right. Mm-hmm. Now, resume maker and career builder. There are some people here who did not have resumes or needed to update their resumes. What I love about this website is that there are tons of information, ideas for different types of job categories, careers. That you can look at these resumes and glean some information, even if you want to not use their templates. You can make your own template. You can either copy and paste with their existing resumes, or you can go through their step-by-step guide. Alrighty. Okay, so what, as a person who has done a lot of resumes, helped a lot of resumes, people with their resumes, there are chronological, functional, and combined resumes here that people can choose which ones they want to use. And then there's from accounting, finance, administrative, education, training, engineering of all types, executive, general labor, government, public administration, military, hotel, restaurant, human resources, management, legal services, law enforcement, purchasing, sales, retail, technology. Throw out a resume that you would like to see. Technology, computers, information systems, okay. All right, so here are, tons of resumes for different types of positions. So let's say director of MIS. All right, so here is an example of a resume for a person who's these are not real people, real resumes of people, but there's a lot of things that you can glean on here. Manage profit and loss analysis, budgeting and cost control, schedule of operational tasks and projects, program implementation, departmental coordination. Sometimes you don't think that you do these things, and you read it and you're like, yeah, I did this. It's okay to take this information and incorporate it into your own resume. That's perfectly fine. What I preach to people now is to use a combination of a chronological and functional resume that emphasizes skills. So let's look at a resume that emphasizes skills. Okay, so here is what I kind of am gearing my advice towards, is having a nice little table without the grid lines that has a snapshot of what you can do. I always tell people a resume is subliminal messaging. You're telling the person that is reading it what you can do, what you want to do in the future, what you can do currently. Personnel logistics management, strategic planning and organization, help desk support, wireless networks. You know, this is fantastic subliminal messaging. It gets it right out there. As a former, you know, recruiter and human resources manager and director, if I looked at the resume, I would look at one for 10 to 15 seconds. And I knew within 10 to 15 seconds that that person had what I wanted or they didn't. And they were going, you know, the keep pile or the keep away pile. So. All right. There are even great resumes for different types of skill levels, entry level, college grad, recent grad, trades and blue collar, freelancing, consulting, management, executive, changing careers, frequent job changes, gaps in work history, military transition, multiple jobs at the same company, re-entering the workforce, inmates and ex-convicts, and applying for federal employment. Does anyone know what a KSA is? KSA, knowledge, skills, and abilities. That is a type of resume that you have to submit, in addition to your regular resume, to a federal job, federal government job. I'm actually writing a PowerPoint now for a workshop that I'm having soon on KSAs. Here are KSA resumes. This is what the federal government wants you to turn in addition to a regular resume when you're applying on the usajobs.com. Exactly, it's a very detailed essay of your knowledge, skills, and abilities that if you turn this in as a regular resume, you know, the person reading it would gasp. But I don't know how any government HR employees can get through this, or have time to read this. But this is what you have to have for a KSA. But as I said, Resume Builder provides a wealth of information for stylings of the resume, how you want it to look, and more importantly, the verbiage that you want to have on the resume. All right. And my handout has information about the other online resources that we have.
For job seekers now, in out-of-the-box job search techniques. And I was just thinking, while I was sitting back and listening to Kim, once you play with these tools and once you're proficient on these tools, put that you're proficient with research back on your resume, and because that's significant. That's finding information is a wonderful, wonderful skill. And this is what you're doing. This is what this whole process that you're having to go through right now is building you up for. And I was just sitting back there thinking that is really an added skill that you guys, anybody who takes the time to utilize and to learn these resources has just bumped their level up, which is wonderful. Now what I do is I help people in the business world do a better job at doing business-to-business contacts. And we have a wonderful system, it's called Reference USA, that's been used traditionally by companies, but they have now learned that it's a very great tool for the job seeker. So we're once again at the Greensboro Public Library homepage, and actually once you start to learn the database's names, if you click on the word database there, That's an active link, and that just takes you quickly to an alphabetical listing. So it's very easy to get to. And Reference USA will pop up in a minute. We're hopeful. And I'm just going to see if I can float over there. And if that doesn't pop up,
Is that through North Carolina Line Industry?
it is through an NC Live, but we should have the graphics here that make it very, very simple to come up, and something really kind of strange is going on there with that. I have provided you the how that looks on your page, so you can see that there would be a link there, and something must be going on with our homepage, which is very nice because we can actually get to it. If anything is ever wrong with the Greensboro Public Library homepage, you can always directly go to nclive.org, and you can still access it with your Greensboro Public Library card. And as Kim said, there is a business management tool here, a link that can take you directly to that subject guide. What are some ways that we can use a business database
Research companies.
as a job seeker?
Research company.
True, true. Anything else? How many of you would be brave enough to research companies in the area in which you're interested in working and actually give them calls? I think it's a very valid idea, and that's actually how I got this job. I stayed out for 6 months when I had my son, and the plan was for me to then get a job and go back to school, go back to work, and as it turned out, it took 8 months. But I found this job that happened, I called the Greensboro Public Library, and it turned out that the person that they had offered this job to didn't accept it. So then they were stuck doing a second round of job seeking again. So a lot of people think that I'm crazy, but I'm definitely an advocate of doing that. This is simply an alphabetical listing of all the databases that you've seen before, and Reference USA is one of those lists. Reference USA does provide a national database. The power behind it is we can narrow it down by the criteria that's specific to us. If I have an insurance background, if I have an academic background, if I want to work in a church, if I want to work for a nonprofit organization, and that kind of thing. I can narrow it down by business type and then geographically. Okay? And I'm just going to quickly show you guys, but this is something worth taking a look at and playing around with. And then there's a U.S. Businesses link, sorry. That's the overall link. The first screen that pops up is a quick search, and that's when you know a company name. So if you see a listing, you can certainly kind of take a look at it. Now there's a caveat about Reference USA. And this is going to be a film, and I don't mind this because I think they should change it. Reference USA is not the 100% accurate. I tell people it's about 80% accurate. There are holes in it. Basically, it's updated annually, and they don't necessarily obtain the listings of new businesses and put it in here right away. And they might not necessarily get the listing of a business that happened to be out of business and things like that. But it's a great start. And it's also a very low, yes sir?
Do they have a limit as to the number of employees? In other words, do they not cover anything lower than 100? Or?
No, that's what's great. This is mom and pop,
Okay.
all the way up to corporate headquarters. Now, of course, the listings do vary. A listing for a private company that doesn't have to do filings is pretty basic. It's got ranges, it'll have sales ranges. I had a gentleman sitting in class one day, he looked his company up, and he said, I didn't make $1 million this year. And so I said, well, that was just a range that they are told. And basically what they do is they do a telephone survey. And so if they get a secretary on the phone that just happens to call off numbers, or if they talk to a manager that wants to make it appear that the company is doing a little bit better, they're not going to necessarily get that accurate information. Now, where you do get pinpoint accuracy is when you're dealing with a public company, because they do pull that information from their SEC filings. So I also advise people, if you're looking at a business that's a franchise or that has a corporate headquarters, go ahead and research the corporate headquarters. For example, if you were working for a Starbucks or going on an interview, you might want to ask that very specific question when we read that Starbucks is closing 65 stores. You know, and that's a very honest question to say, is this store safe? Is it in jeopardy? That kind of thing. The health of a corporate headquarters defines what happens down the line, so it's definitely worth researching that way. But as I had mentioned, the power is that this what's called a custom search. And there's a second link there that I'm going to click on, and it's going to give us a list of parameters. And so this is a capability for building your contacts, and it could be for a job-seeking purpose. It could be if you're interested in volunteering and you want to find out about nonprofits or things such as that. So it has such a wide variety of uses. When I click on the Business tab link, it gives me choices. One is keyword and one is major industry. If you are not comfortable with entering in keywords and getting results that way, you can use the major industry tab. And that's basically a menu-driven thing. You go to apparel, you go down to textiles for youth, or things like that, so it gets more and more specific. But I have traditionally kept up with the keyword searching because I feel like I can target it a little bit more specifically. Well, so let's just, for example, put in coffee, just for the heck of it. Once I type in a keyword, I'm going to click on the lookup button. And what this does is designates official lines of business. And these are lines of business that a company will check off. And so you can find stores. Those of you who are possibly doing business, you can find wholesalers, distributors, manufacturers, and things like that. So it really does run the gamut for things. So what you do is you pick and choose which of these fits what you're thinking about. And you have to be careful not to pick like mobile necessarily, because that might be someone with a truck or a car or something like that, and they're obviously not going to be hiring that much. You can pick some general terms, and then down below they would even have some specifics and things like that. So you can just kind of go down and click on the ones that are most appropriate. So then I can click on geography. And we pick one of these over to the left. You don't need to pick state and city or state and county. So depending upon your preference, how far out you're willing to actually go, we can click a metro area, and that will pick up the cities, Greensboro, High Point, Winston-Salem, and things like that. Or I tell people to oftentimes look at county, because nowadays with the metropolitan lines, we don't know if it's in the city or the county. But you can pick and choose either one. So just as an example, I'm going to click on city, and you do have to scroll down to see that search technique. And we're going to get the state, and we always type in the state first, because this is going to give us our options. And we can either go under this filter here and type in the letter G, and that will take us down to the G's, make it a little bit easier to get to. And I can pick and choose as many of these as I would like. So if you're interested in, you know, Reedsville, Stokesdale, Oak Ridge, things like that, we can do that as well. Once I have established my criteria, I click on View Results. This is going to come up with a summary list page. It's very basic. It's just giving us the company name. We do have a contact name and the address. The tops of these tabs on the columns, you may click on them. So that's really important. Like, for example, if I do a statewide search and I click on the city, so I would find all the businesses in Greensboro or Burlington or whatever. That can be very handy that way. And this is illustrated, just what I said before, that not every company has a full record. So like there are some executive names that aren't listed there. That could have been when they made the call, there was a manager in transition, the person answering the phone didn't have authority to give that name, something like that. But it is a very, very good start. There's some cool things that you can kind of play with if you click on it. You can just kind of see what it has, and as Val said, you can get a little bit of information about the company. Now we have other tools in C Live, such as you can research newspapers, the articles, specific articles database that we have trade journals, and you can find out those little tidbits of information. And just like he said, if you can find out what an employer's specific interest is, that is huge. He mentioned, where someone with university. And if you can find out what charitable organizations they have interest in, that's huge as well, because that person is going to be very likely be at those functions. And so that's a way to stop them in a very productive way. I did, but I used the word productive after that. But that's what it's all about, is you want to sort of learn how to be where these people are. And another thing that I thought about when we were showing you the resume maker and such as that, since you have some time, you could go in and look at those resumes. Also look at job descriptions. How many of you realize that the person hiring doesn't necessarily see half the application? I learned that the hard way years ago, that it's the HR folks who are looking at your applications first. And they actually do a point word search. And if they don't see a certain number of words and certain words in your application, it goes in the file. I tell people to study those job descriptions and start to pick up those words in their resume so they know they can pop them in that application. Very, very quickly, that's the sad truth of us not being able to actually get in front of people. Because when you're in front of people, you can be more, get more explanation, get more description. So that's kind of the reality of things. So I did a little sidekick there, excuse me. The little blue tabs here may be expanded. So when I click on the word expand, it's going to give me a little bit more information. And you see types of business, number of employees, and hours. If they have that, may be good to you. The management directory on this one, I believe they did list an executive. And it does tell the gender, and that can be important sometimes. There are times when there is a pat or something and we can't make an assumption whether it's male or female. So that can be kind of nice. Sometimes the person listed on here is not necessarily still there. And that's okay to say, oh, well, I'm so sorry that I missed John or whatever. May I speak with the individual that's now in that position. So that type of thing works and it is fine. I wanted to show you guys also, there is a link here for nearby businesses. So if you're interested in doing some searching in a specific area, like if you want to look for something around your house, or if you want to look for something of different, same types of it, like retail, or something like that. That can be kind of a clue. And then also we have a competitors link here that you can expand, which does the same thing pretty much that we picked up on our first list, but it just gives you different ways of expanding that. Now, when we go back to the results, a great way to utilize these listings that we get and the information that we get would be downloading this information into a spreadsheet. This downloads very nicely. If you have Microsoft Office or something compatible, it downloads very nicely to an Excel spreadsheet. There is a limitation. Reference USA limits 50 records per download command. Okay? Fortunately, there are 25 records on each page. So you have to click on the top of each page if you're interested in capturing that many, and capture all of those. I could go to the next page and capture those as well. And then click on download. So if I have a listing of 100, I'm going to have to go back and deselect and go to the next page and the next page and reselect. So I always advise people to think in a focused way. Don't have a bunch of businesses on your spreadsheet. As best as you can, whether it's by zip code, whether it's a very specific line of business or something like that. Kind of make that effort to make that as focused as possible. We also have the option here to do the summary listing, which we had in the first page, and that may be fine because it had a contact name and an address, telephone number. But you can also click on custom, which can let you select different items. And any that I select will move over and we can go from there.
If you knew that you'd sorted by city, then you might not want to bother creating a field for city in your spreadsheet.
True, true. Or zip code or your like. And it is very helpful. Anything that can help you shrink that spreadsheet does make it a little bit more effective that way. Does anybody have any questions about Reference USA or the other databases that we looked at? And there are plenty more where those came from. These were just kind of highlights that we wanted to show you guys today. That's all that we have today. Please, like I said, get in touch with us if you have any questions in the future. And we look forward to seeing you guys next week. Thank you.